What's up, everybody? Welcome to your watch along for the movie Heel Kick. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Do you need this pen, or can I hurl it across the room for no reason?
Throw it at Kevin as hard as you can. Wow, that was way wide.
That was really close to the TV.
Over here, Danny Mac.
Let Tim host.
The man who made Heel Kick. The man whose face is over my left shoulder here. This is your movie, Danny Mac.
This is my movie. This is my everything.
Yeah?
And I'm so excited to have a watch along with you guys.
Right, so if you've never watched a watch along with us, the idea is simple. You need to get Heel Kick, which is available right now on iTunes. We're asking you to go pick it up over there. Full disclosure, of course, I'm in this movie. I co-produced it, and I'm in love with Danny Mac, a good friend. He's been a good friend to Kinda Funny since before we launched, actually.
That's right.
He made this movie. It's over on iTunes. You can go get it there, download it, watch it yourself. Then, to get double your money out of it, double your ticket price, come back here and you sync it up with us.
Let's let this be the director's commentary.
Exactly.
Sort of
Can I
thing.
tell you, I talked to Kevin Smith's face about this, but the fact of when people talk about, podcasting is so new, and Kevin Smith was like, oh yeah, you know, I found a calling in it, but I'm like, you've always had it. I will never forget watching the Mallrats commentary. And it was picture in picture over Mallrats. Now, we can't do that, of course, because of copyright, and Danny will fucking sue us and shit. But you can do it where you sync it up here, and it's the exact same thing, and it's kind of weird. I've never done a director's commentary on a film I was kind of involved with.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
There'll be some great insights learned, I believe.
This is gonna be fun. Now, just to set the expectation, we're just allowed to talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we're gonna hit play and sync it at the same time, and you'll hit play at the same time we say hit play, and then
because we were having a great conversation about La La Land. I'd like to continue right now. I'm kidding. I'm joking around. All right.
We'll sing it at the end.
Can we?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know all that shit.
Joey has it downloaded.
Every
so we'll watch
syllable.
that.
all right. So Kevin, I've never been invited to be on one of the watch-alongs where we use the pad. You want me to hit the hourglass when you hit play. So do you want to count it in?
Yes, I will count it in. Kevin, are you ready? People at home, are you ready? Rhetorical question. I can't hear you. If you answered yes, you're dumb. Ready? 3, 2, 1, kick it.
It's happening. We're sunk up. The movie's beginning. That's me.
First person you see in Heel Kick.
Nailed it. That's because I'm the biggest name in Heel Kick, and you're like, we got to capitalize in it.
For a second.
They're not gonna. No, you don't. You buy it on iTunes.
You can't say shut up. You can't. I can't hear it.
Kevin wants to see it.
Watch it later. We're doing a watch along. We're supposed to talk.
So who's Ron?
Big Ron is a Canadian bodybuilder, world renowned.
Okay.
Yeah, and IFBB pro. Guy's the shit. Been a family friend for a while. This is Chelsea Green. You might know her as Laurel Van Ness from Impact Wrestling. We trained together for a little bit in the ECCW. Yep.
She's fucking jacked, dude. I want her abs. How long do I have to train to get her abs?
She's in good shape.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
At least a couple weeks.
Okay, I tried that. It didn't work for me.
At least
so
a week.
That is more.
That's a man right there. That's training right there. All right. Don't worry about that, everybody. So, how long did you train for this? You went to wrestling school with her.
Yeah, we crossed over a little bit. Yeah, see, that's the
Big
money
Ron?
right there. Big Ron's such a great guy.
Was he a wrestler or just a bodybuilder?
He's a bodybuilder. Yeah,
Okay.
and you should follow him on Instagram. He's got some pretty inspirational stories, and he's been around. But I trained for 6 months as a professional wrestler to prepare for the movie.
Yeah, it's interesting because I never really thought about that aspect of it, right? There's two main aspects or two main things that you have to probably do to become a professional wrestler. One, actually know how to wrestle and be acrobatic and have the technique and movement down. But two, you also have to kind of be fucking jacked, which is in and of itself a full-time job. Like you ever watch
you're kind of jacked.
No, not anymore.
I don't know what I am now.
Now
Yeah.
you're like some sort of beautiful model.
I'm like, I was a hobbit, and then the ring got me, and now I'm Golem many years later.
I saw you with
so
your shirt off
beautiful.
earlier. You're just gorgeous. You're gorgeous.
So here we get to the first heart of the matter, introducing your band of brothers. At what point? Now, this is always something that interests me because I don't know how to film a movie. When did you film this scene? This isn't like the first thing you ever shot, right?
No, this is not the first thing we ever shot, but it's one of the first things. We
Really?
tried to shoot as linear as the script would dictate,
Okay.
just for fun because we could, but no, we had to jump around.
Did you add grain to this?
No, see, that's one of the things that we could just never fix. There's a classic indie problem. So when you see those are just dead pixels that I never got a chance to fix because the budget was so small we couldn't jump back into it.
It looks like film grain. I just thought maybe you did
Yeah,
that
I
as
think
an effect.
iTunes thought so too because it passed the quality check.
So this is
the movie's
Cooper
still
up.
stunning.
This is Cooper in front right here.
Yeah.
Cooper is what on this movie other than being co-star?
Cooper's also a producer and the editor as well.
Yeah. Also, we discovered today he really loves all Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, apparently
Including
loves
Yoda.
yoga, and that's you.
Big
That's you.
yoga.
That's your big reveal.
And there's me. Yeah.
Reggie.
I wanted the reveal of Reggie to be really lackluster, like midday, waking up, low energy, just a character you're like, fuck, we got to follow this guy
Yeah.
on this journey.
You really wanted to make your audience regret ever buying or watching this movie.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
These guys had no idea what was going on.
Did you ask how much weight he put on for this? Did I ask that?
No,
before?
nobody
How
has
much
asked
weight
that.
did you put on for this movie?
About 20 to 25 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's tough for you because you can't eat real food.
It was easier back then when
Yeah.
I could eat whatever.
Okay.
And I just asked the other wrestlers, I'm like, what protein powder will make me bigger if I work out so many hours a day? And they're like, 2 scoops of this 4 times a day
They
in
handed
every
you
shake.
two small clear vials, and they're like, these two.
Yeah, that's
these
right.
two pieces
Check
of
these.
protein powder.
That
Get you
scene is
right
coming
there.
up.
These are called Mexican supplements, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna just put those in your butt.
So, where does the idea for your heel kick start?
It starts many years ago when my cousin went to a professional wrestling school and then a prestigious one, the Lance Storm Academy in Calgary,
yeah.
and dropped out after a week. My cousin is like 6'3", 220 pounds, really handsome, well-spoken guy, and he dropped out after less than 2 weeks. And I thought, well, if he couldn't make it, imagine some of the other delusional guys in the class. And that was sort of the antithesis of the idea.
I want to give a shout out to, I don't know if you had a prop person on this or if you just happen to have a lot of
We
these
did.
things.
Natasha Wen was our production
Natasha
design.
Wen did something that immediately tied my youth to this movie. She hung the old school karate gloves and headgear that I used to have when I used to do Kempo. Now, by the way, this headgear does nothing to protect you or your hands or your head. Basically, it just protects your knuckles from getting a little scraped up when you punch the person.
Right.
That was pretty much it, and that's in here. And I used to love those so much. I used to just put them on and like wear them around the house because I wanted to be a karate black
Makes
belt
you feel
so bad.
tough.
It did make me feel tough.
So that's interesting. You have a prop person. Whose house is this? I always assume this was
This
something.
is a house that we rented that's so
wow.
unique and funky that so many film people in Vancouver use it for stuff. So they were
Really?
used to us coming in there and doing it.
Oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
And here's the reveal of Pam Kearns, who plays Liza, my mom.
Not your real mom.
Not my real mom.
She's fantastic. You guys have awesome chemistry together.
She's so great.
For me,
She's a standout, yeah.
You know, I talk about it. Our friendship starts when you bring me up right after Kind of Funny starts, like the month after it started.
Yeah.
I came up, did a charity Mario Kart tournament with you guys, and you told me about Heel Kick there. You'd finished it, but you didn't have anything to show. And eventually you sent me a really rough cut of it. And it was before, obviously, all that intro stuff. It just started basically with the film crew here. And it wasn't until we got to Reggie's mom where I was like, wait a second, like this is really fucking good. Because like,
There's something to
what you were
it,
saying,
right.
where like you open the door and it is like, it's such a low energy introduction where I
Yeah.
was like, is this like going to be...
Which isn't smart, like, if you're a filmmaker.
Well, that's why, like, I talked to Nick about it. Where when I watched it and finished, I'm like, "You need to see this movie. It's actually good. It's gonna be good."
Can we turn
Which
it
is
up a little?
Sure, you can do whatever you want. It's actually gonna be good. And then when you added the rest to it, and I came back from that Edmonton screening, the world premiere, I was like, "Dude, now it's like fucking singing."
Thanks. Yeah, the edit just wasn't right yet, but I knew we'd get there.
Yeah, and kudos to you, by the way. I mean, I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here, but you really like actually managed to do something that I think is the hardest part of acting, is that you actually disappeared into this role.
Thank you very
Because I
much.
met you after I think I
Yeah.
met you briefly in the lobby, and I was like, I had but no context to the movie or who you were in it. Saw the movie, met you again, and then it literally took me a second. I didn't put two and two together. I was like, oh, you're in the movie. You were the movie guy. Because then I think you went up on stage. You were like, hey, I'm Danny Mac. I'm
Yeah,
in the
he's so
fucking movie, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, we
that's-
had a few people, yeah.
Reggie's
did
so
really good.
different than you, right? And that was the same thing I think of when you showed this at Kind of Funny Live 3. You showed it at RTX at screenings there, and granted, Kind of Funny Best Friends have been amazing about coming to whether it's any of those, Edmonton, Vancouver. When those kids put it all together, of like, oh, I didn't realize he was the guy, because
Right.
it looks like you, obviously, but it's
A couple
not.
people thought it was a documentary.
Yeah,
A legitimate documentary, but
Now, tell me the stories when you're watching this. The tattoos. I like. Obviously, Eat Shit speaks for itself, I think.
I believe
But then, what is the other one over on your left
Fucking
arm?
a zombie hunter shirt. That's great.
So that shirt was from a Halloween costume that I got the morning of Halloween when I was too lazy, and it turned out I was bartending at the time, and they're like, everyone has to dress up. So I went to a Halloween store and there was fucking nothing left. It was Halloween, and there was this zombie hunter. It was that shirt and a bloody axe and a trench coat. And I'm like, all right, this will be useful for something.
and it nailed it, and then you just ended up wearing it the entire
My
movie.
lawyer's like, not sure if you should have worn that.
Fuck us.
fine.
No one's gonna give you shit for that. It doesn't matter. And then wait, what about the? We talk about the other tattoo.
The tattoos.
gigantic-
One, I'll leave. The joke is coming up. It's
Okay.
the book on his arm.
Oh,
That's
that one's
one
so
of my
good.
favorite jokes in the movie. The
Yeah.
other one is supposed to be a terrible rocket ship that was done by some neighborhood guy who does tattoos in his house. But we had to cut that scene from the movie, so it's just this awful mystery.
It's perfect.
Here's Maurice.
For a second, I
Maurice,
thought it was
a lot
like
of
an
people's
upside down Stanley
beloved
Cup.
character.
Maurice is
that's fine,
fantastic.
too. Maurice is so great. Yeah.
Maurice is awesome in this.
I really like it. Sounds like a cliche, but the whole cast is really great.
This is training. It doesn't matter if there's a teacher telling you what's right or wrong. You know what's right or wrong. You watch it on TV all the time.
I forget what's Maurice's real name.
Chris Wilcox.
Great dude too.
So great.
Yeah. It's weird too because I want to talk about stuff that happens later in the movie,
Yeah,
but I
we
don't want
can't
to
do
ruin
that.
it. But I mean, I guess if you're watching this, you've already watched the movie,
Maybe.
so that's interesting. Well, no, that's the way you do it. You don't watch the commentary track if you haven't heard anything, right? Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
We were a fat guy wrestler and a normal guy wrestler, and now we don't really have that anymore.
So how long did it take you to write the script? I guess you talk. When first off, does your cousin hate you for like taking his
I
failure
don't
and
think
making
so.
it into a
No, my
movie?
cousin
Okay.
loves me. He's the
Okay,
best guy
okay.
ever, and I always looked up to him. And I think he's so stoked that I made a wrestling movie. And
Yeah.
it's he didn't drop out because it was too tough for him or he couldn't hack it. He discovered it was not for him, and that's and I really
Yeah.
respect people who back away from stuff.
Sure,
like that.
yeah, you get there like this isn't my thing.
So how hard was that compared to the training that you did for this? Like, you went to actual wrestling school for this, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the trainers you see in the movie training me were my trainers in real life.
Okay.
So I ended up, the people I trained with most, I ended up just using them as the trainers in the movie because I knew how to work with them. Unfortunately for them, I had to be Reggie instead of me, who was training under them, which is like, I was just, oh, this is my favorite.
Yeah, this is such a great joke.
That's a good delivery.
So then, is this basement the same thing? If somebody came in and set dressed this?
This is one of our production assistants' houses. He's our B unit director named Mackenzie Warner, and he's actually the guy in the poster who always has the glove in his mouth and is holding the camera.
That is my favorite bit. I've talked to you about that off camera.
Yeah.
Is the fact that whenever you see the cameraman, there's just a glove hanging in his mouth,
And that's just his thing.
and then there's also just a phantom cameraman who's
Yeah.
always shooting that you don't think about it.
That's
Who's
right.
that motherfucker? Yeah, and like the same thing, like your sound guy that's in the movie as the sound guy is actually your sound.
He's our sound
right?
guy. Yeah, that's not an actor. He's recording the actual audio from the movie as you see him in the movie.
So fucking good. That's so good.
That
I
was
love
written
it.
in the script as a character, like the crew were characters, and I'm like, why the fuck would I? And I'm like, I want it to feel like a documentary. I
Yeah.
might as well have the crew be the crew, and
Who's this guy?
This guy was the manager of the bar I used to bartend in, and I'm like,
thought
you're
so.
in the movie.
Yeah. And so this is where your real life helps out, I assume? This is the bar I used to work in?
This is
so
the
you-
bar where we did Game & Watch Live and raised $6,000 for BC Children's Hospital
Nice.
together.
Yeah. I was there. Victor Lucas was there. I embarrassed him at Mario Kart.
You
but
did. You
we can
crushed
leave
his
that out.
soul.
You have this weird competitive streak that I'm
just letting you know, USA, number one, all right?
Fuck yeah, USA number one.
got him.
Go
We got
USA.
him.
You're watching this in Canada. You're number 2.
Yeah, Victor Lucas failed you. He had the chance to succeed and do this.
I'm happy that Kevin gets to see this movie.
Yeah, he's mad that we're talking over it, but I don't think he understands how
love-
commentary
I-
tracks
I
work.
hope he gets to watch it.
This
and
is my
peace and
favorite.
quiet of it.
That is so perfectly representative of who Kevin is. We're doing a watch along, and he tells us to shh so he can watch the fucking
I
movie.
love that.
So now talk to me about these characters. Jackson and his mom.
So this is Mona. This is the apple of Reggie's eye, and her son Jackson. And it's just like a thing that he thinks is so sweet and wants to belong to, but she
Not a fan.
doesn't quite see it that way.
Yeah.
The thing with Reggie and Maurice is that they're so delusional, and they're just in their own heads all the time, and it just they don't really step back and look at the world as what it is, which is not tailor-made for them.
Yeah.
And that's why they think they're gonna be. It could be easy to be a pro wrestler, but of course, once the opportunity comes along to do it, it proves to be. I don't even think they're surprised at how tough it is. I think they're like, shit, we got to put up or shut up now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like about it thematically. Like you like how many people in your life have you met that are like one day they start us in as like, well, one day I'm gonna do this, one day I'm gonna do that.
Well, this
These guys
is
are the
so
hopeless
based on some
dreamers.
filmmakers that I would be around who always say
Yeah.
they're going to do that one thing and then they wouldn't, and it would make me so sad because they had the passion
They
but
have
not
the potential.
the
They just
drive.
can't get off their fucking couch.
And
you
it's
know?
really just
I think all of us have that. I think every artist has that a little bit, right? And you get those moments where you're finally able to go and do the thing, and you're like, oh, this is amazing, but it takes so much energy and so much motivation, but it changes you, and
it's true.
it's a weird.
So
Here's the video game reference.
I love it. I know. And like this is and like so many people I remember afterwards like, what video game was that? You guys had to make this, right?
Yeah, we made this. This is who Reggie thinks he is.
And I was like, thanks. Thanks, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, our friend Joe Raffa designed that. I said, here's footage from SmackDown versus Raw. Make it look like the created character. I just sent him what the created character looks like, and I'm like, make it look like this, but not exact, so I don't get struck by Vince.
It's like perfect. He's like, it took 15 hours, but I remade it. You know, like, it's exactly the same. You're like, fuck.
So, you know, Nick's done the animated series. He's written a bunch of other screenplays. You wrote this. You've done a movie before this, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
That you guys won't release anywhere. You've made a big deal about that. That you'll never show anywhere. And I want to see it, but you won't let me see it.
Wait, why is that?
It's not that. It's just there's nothing to do with it. We'll talk about it later. It's
all right, I'll talk about it off camera. You don't
Sure.
want to sully this one with your other one. I want to watch it.
Cooper's like,
But like, I'm writing a bunch of comic books right now. And I'm still in that infant stage, right? Where it's like, oh my God, when something cool happens and I think about linking it all together, that's great. And I put it all together. For you, is it weird to watch this and like think about the first time you thought of Jared? And like how originally it's like Reggie, he wants to be a pro wrestler. He sucks at it. I assume at some point you come up with the motivating factor is going to be Jared. But then like, at what point does Mona as a B plot come into your head? Like, is that weird then to see it all laid out now? Like all these things?
you know what? You would think. I just think, you know, I would imagine that when someone sits down to a meal,
I never fucking noticed
they're
that.
not thinking about all
glove. Sorry.
Yeah, every shot he's got the glove hanging in his mouth because that's how you guys look.
They're not thinking about the ingredients that went into it, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
able to just enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, I don't really remember the antithesis of all of those characters,
yeah.
but. Or
Yeah,
the genesis, not antithesis. That
No,
means
the genesis,
opposite.
yeah.
Too much whiskey.
It's fine. It's
Too
fine.
much
Not
whiskey.
enough whiskey.
Maybe not enough.
We have people. We can bring
We'll
you
keep
more whiskey
cranking it
if
up.
you want.
But the brother, I think, is like maybe the good guy in the movie because
He's great.
He's
yeah,
the motivator.
Well, yeah, because Reggie's a piece of shit. Like that's the
Reggie's
thing, right?
the bad guy
yeah.
in the movie. I've always said.
Yeah, it's interesting because you chose to write he's the antagonist, the brother, but he's not the bad guy. He is a person who has good. The intention's good is to prove to him that you're not who you think you are, but you could be. And I love that. But like all really good, well-written bad guys should be that, right?
He
not
is
necessarily
the
good
protagonist,
motivated,
but he's also the antagonist because he's what's holding the protagonist back from accomplishing his dreams. So they're one and the same.
It's fascinating. God, looking at this again, it looks really good. Your DP did a great job.
Yeah,
with
he's
this.
fantastic.
Who
He
is your DP?
co-directed the film with me. His name's Ian McDougall,
Yeah.
and he's a really talented guy.
He's really good. He nailed that look of like, obviously like it's handheld. We're doing zooms. We're playing along with the focus a little bit, but also it's just like certain shots. You're like, oh, that's a very nice.
Some shots are
filmic shot.
exactly how I picture them in my head, and that's such a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, things are going to change when you film them and then when you edit them, but
Did you guys? Do you know a lot about the tech specs of the film? Did you guys shoot raw? Were you? what was his approach to coloring?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we shot raw.
Okay, I'd love to sit with him at one point and just be like,
Yeah,
what,
we should
what
get
was
him
your
on the
approach?
horn at one point.
Yeah.
This is the only scene in the movie we reshot.
Really?
Yeah, we did reshoots. This is our first day shooting, and we were unhappy with it, and we came back and did it.
Is that
again.
why Maurice has got the hat on backwards, like covering his shaved
Exactly.
head?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's funny as hell.
God, I had muscles then. What the fuck?
Yeah, now you're just
still have
real
muscles, they
skinny.
just
Shut up, you
haven't come out
good-looking
more.
idiot. Now, Jared here, who's the actor?
Matthew Graham.
Good dude.
He's
I like
a
him a lot.
fantastic actor. Yeah.
Does great
he
Gary
happens
Busey
to be a good
impressions.
guy too.
Yeah.
He did a film with Gary Busey, so this is one of people's favorite scenes in
Yeah.
the movie.
Oh yeah. Well, I told you like this is like my laugh out. Like, in what universe are you going to be a professional?
Oh, here it
wrestler?
is.
I love the stop sign though,
It's so good.
because you know
So
we all
wrestling.
had those in backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
Such a great fucking line. Such a great
That,
fucking
that
line.
line I remember was in the original trailer.
Trailer,
you gave us,
yeah.
And I was like, I'm in. I'm coming out to
Yeah,
Vancouver
yeah.
to watch this. That's, ladies and gentlemen, what we call fucking genius.
I had a great
when you write
moment
that line.
when Greg played the teaser for the first time and that joke was in it, and you laughed so hard in it. And
That's what I'm talking
and we
about.
were so like pleased
You're like,
because
this
that was
you-
some of our first complete outsider opinion on it. And just watching you laugh at it was like,
Dude.
okay, that line was funny.
That
Okay.
line fucking.
Well, that was
got
the thing
me.
of like that, like, you know, I'm not the movie guy. And it's like when when you guys, I make this joke all the time when I do intro Q&As, right? Of like when you're like, oh, and hey, we're also doing this movie. I'm like, you're too nice. I'm sure this will be a piece of shit. And then they sent it to me, and I was like, I think this is good. Like, Nick, you need
That
to
was
watch
tricky,
this.
yeah.
And then the trailer, when I showed it to Nick and he liked it, I'm like, all right, good, I'm not crazy. And then have Nick come up to actually watch it in Canada.
It's a testament to like what a good friend you are that you jumped on board and then without like knowing too much about it. But
Sure.
then,
Well, you guys are
I
just
was
the
very
nicest.
happy that the movie was good as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when we
yeah,
showed
yeah.
it around. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, as a wrestling fan, like, it is so easy to fuck that up, right? Like, as and somebody who, like, backyard wrestled and all this shit is, like, it's easy to not get the actual subject material
Yeah.
and fuck it up and get out there and have just a stupid story and have it not look good. Because, like, that's the other thing, too. Like, the amount of movies people will show us, and be like, we did this thing, and you watch, and you're like, it's awesome you created something. You've done something I can't do or haven't done. But this also
But I
doesn't
believe you
look
might
like
have
a
missed the
movie.
mark, yeah.
This doesn't look like and like your shit looks like a movie. I mean,
Thank you so
Matt,
much, yeah.
Matt Graham, I don't know if you know this, commercial actor. I've seen him.
I know. Me and him vie for commercials against each other. It comes down to the two of us all the time.
I
on
see him in the
who's
United
good.
States.
Motherfucker, I put
He's
you in
got
a
rental
movie.
things. He's sick sometimes. He's all sorts of
Yeah,
things.
he's fucking.
Look
all
for him
over.
on your TV. You'll find him.
The
There's your
scene was
sound man.
so fun to
This
write.
is the funniest, but
You were my best friend. And my wife, she was my other best friend. So you can only imagine how I felt when I caught my two best friends fucking before my eyes.
and your sound guy, the fact that he's not an actor, but the way he
perfect.
emotes,
So perfect.
So that's a vow that I kept. I kept that vow because I killed her, Maurice. She's dead. She's dead. And then you're dead. This Sunday, you're dead.
And then upcoming now, we have the most quoted line in the movie, even beyond Milky Way Galaxy
Let me tell you something, brother.
universe. Yeah.
You killed my new wife. Now I'm pissed as shit. I'm gonna show you what it is to be a real man and how to be a real man. And let me tell you something, brother. You told me
Look at your face.
in a sack.
So was all that written out, or was that like ad libbing?
Yeah, that was written.
How much of the movie is ad libbing versus?
Not as much as people would think,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Because you guys make it all look so natural.
That's what we I would like tell people muddy up the lines a bit. Like we have such good actors, but
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
I heard it that time.
Glove in the mouth, man.
yeah, we would have to say like say your lines less professionally. Like it has to be like it's coming to you in the spur of the moment. And then
Right.
I would also ask that the boom be in the shot a lot. Like I'm like this
Like,
needs
yeah,
to
I
look
see it dip in
uglier
a little bit here
and
and
it's
there,
all
yeah.
intentional. We're like this needs to look.
Yeah, see, I'm not an actor, and whenever I try to act, I am reminded at how fucking hard it actually is to do it right.
Right.
Lots of people out there think they can act. A lot of people out there think
That's
they can
true.
act, and boy, they think it's easy, right? They're like, "Oh, I can act," just like your titular or your character here thinks that he can wrestle, but man, it's fucking not easy to sell shit like this.
I always talk about it like that's the hardest thing I think for me, where not the where people cast us and stuff all the time, whether it's like Lego voice acting or just
Yeah.
like, hey, do this thing in this. Even like when you and Tim used to do the weird videos at IGN, like I'd intro them, but like
Mm-hmm.
act in them. It's like, man, as soon as you start acting, you feel so stupid.
It's
and
tough.
it's like, I don't know, am I saying it naturally? And then you start thinking and it's immediately not natural.
Yeah,
so
my-
the fact that everything feels natural is always crazy.
My favorite shtick with that is, do you guys ever watch 30 Rock?
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin has that great part where they want him to be on the show, and he can't. He was like, I can't remember how to walk. Which way does my hand go? He's like walking with his leg, you know. And then they make him carry two coffee. He's like, I feel like I should have something else in this hand, like another coffee cup.
So good.
Question for you. This is the dumb stuff as a non-movie person I would think about. Whose van is this? And like,
That van belongs to our DP,
and they just let you put, he's just like, all right,
and
fine, slap this.
it was a
sports
different
thing.
color. They painted it, and then
Really?
they tried to make it look like a production van.
Oh, wow, okay.
He let them
Slapped
paint
the
the
Sports
van?
Stream HD logo
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it, which obviously we invented. It's not a real thing.
And then my next question there, Cooper, so you wrote the movie by yourself, right?
Yeah, I had Cooper help me along the way. He's one of my closest whatever.
You can call him what he is,
Boyfriends.
dead weight. Did he have any qualms about having the nose bandage? The
No,
entire
he loved
movie?
it.
Really?
It was a bit of makeup, obviously, every
Yeah.
day, but no, it was super fun for him to work off of, and we just really want it to be uncomfortable between them. Like the subject doesn't respect the person who's following him, and vice
Sure.
versa.
Yeah. So now talk to me about this man right here, the professional wrestler training you.
Let's turn this up a little bit because
This They've seen the movie, Danny.
I know,
They're supposed to have seen the movie.
but
at
I
this
want to
point.
hear the thunder.
God, Danny.
This is Scotty Mack. He is the proprietor of ECCW,
Yeah.
the Elite Canadian Championship Wrestling Company. He really trained me. He was the first person I approached when discussing, hey, can you train me in real life and be in a movie and do this whole thing? And I was like, I hope he says yes, because I've got 2 other options. If not, I don't really care if they say yes or no. So Scotty was down from the beginning, and
That's awesome.
He's a great guy. We've become friends.
Now, my favorite story from following you guys around, doing all these Q&As and talking to you, is the fact that you're not sure if Scotty ever understood Cooper was an actor.
Yeah. Okay. So. That story is pretty funny.
That speaks largely to Cooper's talents, I guess. There you go.
So I just don't know if Scotty ever realized that, because Cooper plays an asshole who doesn't respect wrestling, and that's why he doesn't like making this documentary. And I don't know if Scotty ever knew that Cooper was not the actual director or not, because Scotty would give Cooper attitude all the time, and Cooper would be like, "Hey, the cameras aren't rolling. Like, why are you being like?"
You're like,
this?
I love wrestling. I wouldn't make a movie about wrestling if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
This is a
really
scene
cool.
I loved writing. It's the first bump you ever take, and this was just where he realizes this isn't going to be fun.
That's my favorite one. In the bell ring you guys put in there subtly.
No,
Now,
that's real.
That's real?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's all
shit.
just
I thought you
that's
added
the
that.
noise the ring makes. That's metal just smacking around.
How long had you trained? Like, how many bumps
3
do you
months.
think you done? Oh, so you've done tons of this shit.
But
before.
I've
you
done
talk
a
about
fair amount of bumps.
You talked about the problem being, right, that you look too good.
That's right. We were getting in there like you just saw us try to run the ropes.
Yeah.
And Randy is our other trainer, the blue-haired guy, and
Who everybody loves, apparently.
he's fantastic, and he's an actor in his own right as well as Scotty. And they're just like, you weren't that good when you ran the ropes for the first time, and they're like, bring it down a notch, and because it becomes second, well, you know what
Nature.
I'm saying?
Second nature,
second
yeah.
nature.
I've
Twice-
always wanted to do that, by the way.
Run the ropes?
Run the
Yeah,
ropes
I've
is
never run the
so
ropes.
much more difficult than you would think it is.
Oh, I bet.
There's a set amount of steps. You have to hit it with a certain arm, and you got to swing at a certain point as well. Here's how fucking strong Scotty Mack
People have
is.
done that.
Yeah,
well.
right. He's deadlifted. Fucking Maurice. This always gets a laugh in the theater, too.
Do Reggie? Yeah.
And then the way Scotty, I won't even get ahead of it, but I mean, you should have seen the movie by now.
Okay, if you haven't watched the movie, pause this, watch the movie, come back and watch this fucking.
I know, right? You bought the movie on iTunes, right? We're begging you.
You
His
bought
house
it.
is up for sale.
Oh my god, that's gotta hurt.
And
I
then,
don't care.
But then, like, watch Scotty Mack here, right? Like, what a. I'm assuming he did that naturally. Nobody instructed
yeah.
him. He just knew.
He's
Like,
so great.
what a fucking in-ring professional to know how to fucking do that.
He's great. And that's our whole point. Like when Roger says to them, like, why do you guys think this is going to be easy? You're combining the 2 most difficult jobs in the world, professional athlete and live performer.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? You're going to be an actor and a and
and
a
a
professional
sports
athlete at the
star?
same
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird that you went to film school to learn how to just stalk people.
And this is where we learn a little bit more about Roger and why he doesn't
Yep.
necessarily want to be doing this.
And it's like, this is the kind of stuff, though, that, like, having seen the movie a million times, knowing it now, where every one of the things you go, or where everything you introduce goes, I know it sounds stupid, but as somebody who just consumes movies and TV shows and moves on, doesn't think about them too much, like, it's awesome to see the way that, like, everybody has their own thread and narrative, in the way that, like, this conversation about Tripod, right, then comes back to the very end of
Right.
giving him the book and showing that they respect him and care about him, and it's like,
Yeah, I
so
tried to
fucking
give
cool.
every character their own hero's journey, which is the 12-step hero's journey, which is, you know, basically the blueprint with which George Lucas made Star Wars and why so many films are so successful. But I just
do
wanted
believe-
even the tertiary characters to have their own arcs as well. So.
I've heard it on good authority that people are calling this the Star Wars of 2018. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
Kevin
actually, I
said
think
that.
well, technically, I saw it in 2017, so I think they're saying it's the best Star Wars movie to come out in 2017.
Why I gotta start shitting these YouTube
'Cause
comments?
you know what? You gotta be fucking polarizing, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is this is like such a great like. Thank God The Rock's still awesome, and everybody still
know.
loves The Rock, right? Because what you said, this you've been working on this for 4 years, right? Yeah. God, Maurice is so good.
He's so natural.
And this is a great line
Yeah,
too.
this is good.
Randy the Ram from The Wrestler. Can't believe you've not seen this movie.
So here's another question, as a movie noob kind of person for you. in the convenience store, you blur out all those movies you're holding up, right? But then like the extra gum, you don't have to blur that out. Like what's all? And I don't. And
the blurring of the movie was like a specific bit.
Okay,
because
so that's just a
we were
bit.
making
Okay.
a point of it, and we were saying that like it's good or bad. And then in an actual movie, you can't do that. You can't like comment on someone else's work and make it the focal point of a scene. But you know, gum in the background, like sure, Wrigley's, come at me, bro.
don't do it, Wrigley's, please. We need people to buy it on iTunes so he doesn't lose his house.
Tell you one thing right now. Wrigley's
Everyone thinks I
aggressive.
have a house. This is
We're crafting a narrative about you, sir.
Buy into the fucking bit, Mac. Do you
All
want this
right.
movie to be a success?
I got kids, all right.
People are like, I don't need to buy his movie. He's already got a house. He's doing better than I am.
Why did he mortgage his home for a backyard wrestling
This is a
movie?
terrible idea. I should have mortgaged someone else. Do you miss the mustache, the handlebar mustache to beard? Sometimes?
When I shaved it, I felt like I made a grave error. Believe it or not, honestly, like I only grew a beard to prepare for it, and I didn't have my facial hair fashioned into that until 10 minutes before the first shot.
Oh, Jesus.
Then, second we wrapped, I shaved it off, and I looked at my face, and it just looked wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not to have facial hair.
Wow.
It took me like I had postmortem depression. I wanted it to come back, and I had to grow it back for the final scene of the movie. We'll get to that later, but
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
there was a break.
How long does it take you to grow the beard?
Not long. I'm a pretty hairy fella.
Okay, cool. This is like the best stuff about Maurice.
Yeah, you
This
really.
part where he makes his own championship belt. It's such a brilliant thing. Maurice reminds me a lot of Kevin. That's why I love him so
Says
much.
the person that at one point in his life, when he was a young person, actually made his own championship belt and wore it around his own backyard in Glen Ellen, Illinois.
But again, I'm the opposite of these guys. If I wanted to, I could have made it.
Yeah, he could have
I
done
think
it.
you could have made it.
Sure.
You have bear-like strength. You have
Yeah.
determination. And
Sure.
you're great on camera.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could still make it probably. You know what I mean? Like that's
How
the
old
thing.
are you?
30.
You're in the prime?
34.
You're in the.
Yeah.
Been stronger. That's a fact.
I'll tell you one thing. Professional.
I've never
athletes,
looked better for sure.
You're in the prime. You're in your prime right now. I mean, if you had started working out when you were 15, you'd be in your prime right
Sure.
now.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's elastic. It comes back. God,
You have
these
to
are so
have-
painful. So painful to watch. Because I can't even imagine, at this point, you know how to take the bump. You know
I
how
don't.
to...
Okay, so the funny thing about the arm drag is that that was one of the moves that I didn't really learn how to take that well. And every time I would do it in class, they'd be like, "You got to go over straighter." And I thought, like, what a fun. And they would keep doing it on me because I couldn't nail it. And I'm like, well, we got to tie this in somehow. So that's me trying to take an arm drag and just sucking at it.
So then, the question I think for the viewer at home, right? Did you enter into the wrestling class and tell everyone you're making a movie? Did you enter in being like, hey, only tell your instructor?
Yeah, so I think Scotty knew right out of the gate, obviously, because I told him. Sid and Randy eventually found out, but we didn't tell our classmates really anything.
Oh, wow.
We didn't want to be treated differently than
Sure.
the regular people training to become legitimate professional wrestlers. We wanted the actual experience of training, and we felt like we would need it. We also didn't want, an actor's crash course and how to do it. We wanted to get in there and get messy. So
Well, the other thing, too, I mean, is like,
they found out eventually, right? You
Right.
become friends, you form partnerships
Right,
with these
right,
people, and they're eventually like, you're a filmmaker, you're making a wrestling movie. They put two and two together.
They put two and
They're
two
like,
together
we're not
when
going to
you're
see
like-
you after a few months.
Yeah, you do something, and then all of a sudden you're like, can we do that one more time? They're like, wait a minute, that's not how this really
and why
works.
does this film crew follow you? in
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
this
Gotta
one,
keep
yeah,
calling
that's not the
action and
same
cut.
thing, right? Like, these aren't your real training sessions. Right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, just making sure
these aren't real
for the
training
audience at
sessions.
home, making
Yeah.
sure they understand what's. Oh
At,
God, Josh.
Here are the chest chops, of
Oh,
course.
Jesus. These look like they fucking hurt.
As somebody who's been chopped by the best of them, they fucking hurt.
That's right. I remember that welt on your fucking chest after you did that with Hogan. That
Dude.
was disgusting.
It wasn't even nearly as bad as Motor City Machine Guns at TNA.
Really?
They did it to me shirtless, and they did it to me twice. Alex Shelley.
so
And
shitty.
I went back. It was whatever TNA event, and you could see every one of his fingers, like imprinted. Like that's awesome how you did that count.
Yeah, it was great.
I really like him, and I didn't realize
Ravenous
he had
Randy-
a following.
He's also the last person to be trained by the in the Hart family dungeon in Calgary,
No
Alberta.
shit, really?
Really?
Before the dungeon shut
They
down.
closed it down, yeah. Because I forget what it was. I tweeted out the video or something, and so many people responded about him. And this is a great scene too, right there. Like that's was another great moment, right? Of like,
Great. Roger
there's-
wants to be included.
exactly. They're building this camaraderie, but they don't know what it
He
is.
probably
yet.
doesn't have any friends. Yeah.
What? No, Roger's got friends.
Some. But he wants to be one of the boys
Sure,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. He doesn't want to
It's-
hang out
it's
with
an
sports
act he's
streams
putting
people.
up.
Yeah.
You see, you're training. You're doing this. You're making a movie. You're making a movie about being a backyard wrestler. clearly you love wrestling. At any point in this, are you like, when something happens, when you were training and you nailed a move, were you like, maybe, just maybe, I should try and make a go of this?
After it was all over, Chris and I, we'd go for drinks, and we'd always, we'd talk about like
trained.
two guys who used to rob banks, but now they have kids, and we'd look around with a beverage and be like, so do you miss it? And it was always like, what if I did? What if I wanted to go back for one more score?
I love it.
I love this scene too. This is such a great scene. I got another laugh every time. Oh, I forgot the protein powder.
Yeah, this one always hit. And then you see the impact he's having on still living at home, and his mom can't.
Yeah, was she gonna go on a date there? What?
My
as your
thing in
writer,
her mind is like she would like to maybe have like someone over, do like a normal adult thing, maybe have some friends over. But
Sure.
she's like, look at this guy, he's just all
He's
consuming.
an embarrassment. Yeah.
Look at the backyard, you know what I mean? So she loves him, but it's just.
Is that a real or fake bruise on your bicep there?
real or fake bruise?
Oh,
on your
real,
bicep?
real, yeah. I'm just covered in actual bruises all over.
It's funny. I had protein powder in a shake with him this morning, and I was like,
Did
"Look
you?
at us!
It's
Look
pretty
at us.
good.
I'm
Careful.
living the movie.
Gotta have him freestyle for
Yeah.
some reason.
Why not? Scripted?
No. I'm like, they freestyle in the script. And they're bad at it.
Fucking Roy. What's Roy's relationship to you? Danny Mac.
Drug dealer?
No, I know.
That always gets a pop.
Like,
Roy
fucking
is
filming me?
Roy's probably my oldest friend, played by Kevin Hoy. He's just a person I love who's hilarious.
He's
and
great,
I said,
dude. He's
Roy's in the
great.
fucking movie. We used to play wrestling games together when we were kids, and his name's Kevin Hoy in real life. And so his wrestling character's name was the Hoy toy, like the boy toy.
yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Cool.
I made his name Roy so he could still be
Oh,
the
that's so
Roy
good.
toy.
This is another one of my favorite. I would have lied. That's like one of the most underplayed like jokes.
Scotty's
in
a
the movie.
good performer, man. Like a lot of this stuff from him, we were just like, just be mad, and he would take it into his own hands.
See, and this is what I'm talking about with how, from somebody who appreciates the art of wrestling, I can't imagine learning how to wrestle and then coming back and acting like you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story I always tell, because I always use it for what we do, in the fact that like when I'm talking to a normal person, and somebody who doesn't know what we do or who we are, and they're like, "Oh, you're on camera." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, and then I'll do the "What's up, everybody? I'm Greg," and I turn it up to 11 from where I was.
Like, "Gah!"
And I always make the joke when they're like, "Holy shit, that was impressive." I'm like, somebody could kick in my door in the middle of the night with a camera and a light, and I'd be like, "Whoa, what's up?" I would just be into that moment, right? And I take that from Taz and Tough Enough, where I think it's season 1, where he's telling these kids when they're taking bumps and fucking up, he's like, "You gotta understand, you're gonna learn to do this, and it's gonna be instinct." And he's like, "I could slip on the ice tomorrow, and I'd still take the bump correctly. That I would tuck my chin and slam down when I came down to spread out all the way." So to come up, I can't. Did you hurt yourself during this film? Because I feel like you'd hurt yourself trying not to do it right when you know how to do it right.
I got a couple weird little injuries, and one of them is still a little nagging. Not too bad by any means, but
Memory loss.
yeah.
It's like I have
what
no
were we
lower
talking
spine.
about again? Doing a bump like you don't know how to do a bump is a bad idea. But that first time you see me like jump and my arms are to my side, I'm just like it was just sucked. I shouldn't have done that so
good.
many times, but it looked good, and I knew it should be funny, and it shouldn't look like a bump. So god damn it, I had to just suck at it.
Yeah, you shouldn't look like you know how to fall perfectly distributing weight to your back.
Yeah.
There's another let me tell you something, brother.
Great. They're so
I think
great.
they clock in at 7 in the movie. I'm not too
Well, that's
sure.
like when coming up for the fight between Graham McTavish or whatever, where it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
was
Jesus
it
God, it's so
Earth
good.
Fire McTavish?
Yeah. Is this how wrestling school worked too, though? Where it was like, all right, cool, everybody's tired, let's work on promos.
No, when everyone's tired, you'd keep training.
Keep fucking
no one
going.
gives a fuck if you're still tired. But we would have some days that were exclusively for promo work, and we had like improvisers and comedians come help us with that and help. You know, a lot of these people are just really good athletes, and they don't necessarily perform. And you even see that in WWE a lot.
Sure.
So that's what we had going on. Someone taking us to the side and doing that.
Always a scene in the movie that in any movie that makes me anxious, because I know that when you cut an actor's hair like that, and if you fuck up and have to go back and refilm something, It's not. It's like
And we did.
impossibly
And that
hard.
first scene in the movie is Maurice wearing a red hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you
I'll never
cover it
forget-
so well.
Possibly.
Oh yeah, cool, Greg. Can you get what? Were you drinking?
Just some Knob Creek.
Just bring
I
a
don't-
bottle.
The bourbon bottle.
Can you bring a bottle of bourbon and some ice?
Thank you so much. First time he actually saw himself after shaving his head. So this is a legitimate
It's already.
reaction.
Do you like it? No. I love him. That's real. Cookie sheets are real.
Are they?
Yeah. We used them in backyard wrestling back in my day too.
You used
So-
to, you cookie sheets, and then do what the chairs when they hit each other with the chairs? Are the
Well,
chairs
that's
fake?
professional wrestling. That's professional wrestling.
I thought you guys were pros.
No. We had chairs that we hit each other with, and they were not fake.
You and Poe did.
They were like 1970 folding chairs. So they were like,
Poe is
they were-
almost in. Oh, Poe is in this movie for a brief moment. A brief moment, because in the photographs you're showing, there's a quick. Oh no,
But
did we not use that
edited
footage?
those
Oh,
out. Yeah,
maybe we
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
use
yeah.
that footage.
But this is amazing for Maurice
Yeah,
as
so
a character.
check this out. This is pretty
And this is
cool.
real, right? Like I was blown away watching the movie.
This
then.
is real, right? So this is where Roger gains a little respect for Maurice because he sees how far he's come on his weight loss
Oh my
journey.
god, that was actually him.
That's
Yeah?
actually
I
Chris.
did not realize that.
Chris lost over 100 pounds in real life, and
even from this movie. Like when I screened it, I was like, oh man, I lost a lot of weight. And then doing the Edmonton premiere, I think it was, or maybe it was Vancouver, where I met him, and he showed up in a suit, and I was like, holy shit, you've lost more weight.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
he looks fantastic.
Now who are these guys in real life?
Okay, so these are two talented writers and editors that Cooper and I are friends with. And we wanted just to have a moment where there was two guys somehow worse than Reggie and Maurice in the film, where Reggie and Maurice could be like, "Pff, some people just have no fucking clue.
Yeah. That's great.
Those guys, you know, there's some people you just want to like shake them and be like, you should quit. You don't want to be the one responsible.
Is there an underling to this, like of like being a filmmaker, being an actor as well?
Totally,
Yeah.
man. It all ties in. It's so embedded into the story for me because again, like I said, like, and I felt like a failure myself because I hadn't made a film in so long. This is
Yeah.
my second film, and there was 5 years between them, and I was really down on myself. And so I created the character of Reggie to motivate myself in a way to remind me
Gotcha.
that you just have to hustle more and
Yeah.
get the work done. And that's
Yeah,
sort
that's
of how it works.
again. That's it's that creative
Thanks, Cool
process,
Greg.
man. It's like it's difficult.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to pound that
Gotta
payment.
fucking
And
get
you
your
gotta
ass out
put,
there
no
and
matter
do
you
it.
have
what
to
it
be
is,
tough
right?
on yourself as well. A lot of people are like, well, you know what? I did have kind of a good year, and you justify things but then you realize maybe you didn't accomplish your main goal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm all about being tough on yourself.
It's funny because you mentioned being a person who doesn't want, like, obviously he's like the character is like, you don't want to be a person that like dashes their dreams, right? I've thought that before about comedians, where I look at people and I'm like, that person's not funny,
Right.
And of course part of you does that because you're insecure about your own art, right? You're like, oh,
course.
that guy's not funny at all. He's
That's
never gonna
exactly
make it.
why he
I'm
would
at
say
least
that.
funnier than that person, right?
Yeah.
But it's so funny. I've been doing stand up now long enough to see those people that I had that harsh criticism of actually go from not understanding it to figuring it out to not being funnier than me. And that's a lesson learned where you're like, Jesus, man, it's motivation. It's all
true.
just time
Yeah.
and motivation. That guy
Hustle
wanted
outweighs
more than me,
talent
and now he's funnier than
100%
me.
of the time. The person
Absolutely.
who works harder will be better than the more talented person, no
100%.
matter what. And so here we see Maurice being
Getting
praised
positive
for being
reinforcement. Yeah. This is like heartbreaking. This is a heartbreaking scene. Every time I see it, it's like so cringy. Of like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, like she doesn't want you to call. She doesn't care. And then like when he turns around, like what to Roger or whatever. I'm like, oh. We've all been there though. You got to make that call in front of the boys.
I don't do that. I used to step outside.
You've made the call in front of me.
Oh, I'm married now, so no calls matter anymore.
Whatever. You're so in love. Shut up.
I know I love her. She's awesome.
Your wife?
Yeah.
She
No,
is
my
so
wife.
awesome.
Thank you.
Your wives are
You're one of the few people outside of me who's
I
met
love
her.
your wife, man. She seems like she gets shit done.
She really does.
Yeah.
My wife's one of those rare human beings that, like, if it doesn't need to be in her life, she cuts it out. She's not in it. She's not on Facebook, not on Instagram, not on Twitter. Doesn't need it. Doesn't.
That's why
give a
she
fuck.
stopped
Doesn't
texting
give
me.
a fuck. Wow.
Just kidding.
How
Just
dare you,
kidding.
sir?
This scene always cracks me up because he gets a laugh. And I always thought it was interesting that he got a laugh. I'm like, you know how far he ran?
I didn't run.
Now
very
this whole fucking scene, Jesus, this is just something that was amazing.
steroids. He's doing steroids. Ow, ooh, man, don't touch my fingers. Can we do this? Can we film this? Shut up, Roger. I'm nervous.
Now, is this the same thing? This was all written?
This is written, but we did this all in one take 6 times, and we just picked chunks of our favorite ones.
Dude,
it was
that's
so fun.
crazy.
It felt like we were performing for the crew, like we were doing a little play.
Little
that
play?
day.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
But a lot of it's improvised as well.
Yeah.
Is this a trick needle?
I
great
won't
question.
say.
Oh, wow.
I'm not allowed to say if we used a real needle on my skin or
Did
if
you
we didn't.
use real steroids?
Fuck
No.
yeah, you did.
I'll say that.
Here's a real question though: did you at any point like encounter steroid use when you were like training with people? Because I imagine there has to be something that's like maybe not encouraged, but it's around.
There's like dudes where you could obviously ask them if they could hook you up, and then there's
Like when a
the
guy
ones that
has
you
no
wouldn't.
neck, like his shoulders are just up the top of his fucking ears. You're like, yo, bro,
You're like,
you
hey
got something
man,
for me?
what do you lift?
Yeah, what are you squatting these days,
Did you
bro?
do stretches
Schoolhouses.
before?
Schoolhouses.
Glove in the
I
mouth.
lift the short bus.
So great.
Line just for filmmakers
Here
here.
comes your butt. Which line?
Right here.
Okay. Oh.
This is so Morgan Spurlock. What's funny is you said that you look exactly like Morgan Spurlock with
I
that
know.
fucking beard.
It's
It's
so
weird as
true.
shit.
I'm super
You
sized.
got a nice ass there, buddy.
Thank you.
I'll give you a nice compliment there.
a
Greg
nice
was
little
shying away
mole
from
there.
it.
Yeah, you should get that mole checked out, but
Nah,
yeah, it's
don't
a
worry
nice
about it.
butt.
Fuck you. With your
Do you
fucking
shave it or
moles.
anything? You just let it go? Is that just how it naturally is?
I don't know what's going on with that. I should check my ass out more often. My niece came and saw the movie in the theater, and she's like, "Thanks. Now I know what my uncle's ass looks like."
Such an uncomfortable situation.
When I was writing a wrestling movie, I decided there's 3 things that need to be addressed. 1, the movie The Wrestler. 2, The Rock. And 3, steroids.
Yeah. Sure.
So I was like, there must be scenes that addresses these 3 things. Because I would hate to have someone see a wrestling movie and be like, that's weird they never talked about, especially one that takes place in the real world.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be
yeah.
a documentary. So I felt like a steroid scene was necessary. But it tied in with Reggie's character, too, of realizing, like, this is possibly the last time he tries to take a shortcut.
Yeah, he starts growing up, right?
Yeah, and he's just, he recognizes, you know what, if I'm going to do this, well, I'll let you decide how the scene made you feel.
I'll tell you, for me, I was so uncomfortable on first viewing because I thought for sure he was gonna stick Cooper with it.
Really?
I thought he was
thought
gonna do
that,
like
yeah.
a thing and bump him and like hit him, and I was like, oh my god.
Missed opportunity.
I'm gonna
No, it's not a horror film.
I'm gonna give a huge shout out, by the way, to the bidet that you're
Thank
ashing
you.
into. I love
That's how
bidets.
old this fucking house is.
I love bidets, and I wish
we
that
need
I
to
don't
bring
know
them.
what to do. I want to be the bidet ambassador to the United States because too many people in this country don't understand the glorious power of the bidet.
One of our first Game Over Greggy Show topics.
The bidet.
Yeah, it was one of our first topics that ever got us in trouble with IGN.
Really?
yeah.
Did you learn from that?
When I got, so we called it like, why don't Americans clean their buttholes? And so I got pulled aside by like super upper
I
management.
tried to write a joke about that one time where I was like, why do we treat our hands better than our buttholes? Like, if you got shit on your hand, would you wipe it off?
Yeah.
Or would you wash it off?
And you could end it with,
That's a good joke.
You know what I'm
maybe
talking
that's
about?
too intense for you. Was that a bit of a splash of cold water?
Wow. Okay. All right. You know what?
Didn't
You
make-
stick to writing
yeah, I didn't-
movies.
I didn't-
I'll stick to bombing on stage with shitty jokes. Okay.
Use that if you want to
I will
bomb.
take it. I will
Great
take
scene here. Here's where he turns it all around.
First bonding moment between them. It's funny because when we had that scene in the bathroom, we always thought the steroid scene would be like one of our favorite scenes in the movie. And then the co-director, Ian McDougall, who did all the camera work as well, he's like, man, I really love the scene afterwards when you guys reconcile and you form a bit of a
it.
friendship.
Good moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
good
pretty
moment.
nice. I wasn't quite sure why he liked it so much, but it's anything that drives the story forward or advances character development. That always resonates with people, even if it isn't hilarious.
Right.
And like now that you do stand up and your job is professionally like filling dead air, like it's like when things aren't funny, you just want to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it's just like taking a quiet breath is one of the most effective things to do.
Well, I like it also because the character you fleshed out both characters, obviously, right? It could have been very easy for you to go with the director always being behind the camera and just that voice and never seeing him. But Cooper's character here is you made him real, and that's why that moment's real. That's why there's two people that you actually care about. So when you start caring about both characters,
I love this scene too where the coffee's terrible, but he doesn't say it. He's just like, oh god, it's awful.
I think there's Coors Banquet in that mug, and he didn't know what it was going to be. Thank you, Coors Banquet, for being cool with us, using you in the movie.
Oh yeah, did you have to talk to them because there's Coors Kings everywhere?
They gave us a bunch of Coors Banquet to use.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome.
So I have a question for you again, as a movie noob. How does writing this movie or writing a movie, but specifically this movie, work? Is it that you had the idea, and I would think that you sit down and you go, all right, scene one, act, or do you outline? Is it bullet points?
I did a ton of outlining. I spent so much time outlining because I knew once I opened Final Draft and I started writing the actual script, I did not want to get to a point where I'm like, I don't know what the characters should do next. Because if you don't know that, it means you don't know where they came from. And then you're in trouble. Now, that's
also,
just how
real quick,
I
sorry,
operate.
real eggs here?
Oh,
Real eggs, yep.
Jesus
this
God.
is horrible. He's a man for this. I'll tell you that
Legitimately.
right now.
Does he drink the majority?
Yeah, don't let the cut fool you. This is him chugging 7 eggs.
Jeez. And is that really him throwing them up
that's
too?
That's really him throwing them up.
So bad.
It's all legit.
Was it written like he just finishes them or whatever happens?
No, it's written the last one is too much to take and he hawks it back up. Yeah. So.
Jesus, gross.
And he made it look so natural.
Sorry though, you outlined and did all this stuff.
No, yeah, I just did a shit ton of outlining. It made me feel good to outline it. And then when I opened Final Draft, then I had the fun of I know what flow to follow, but now I get to just have fun with the dialogue, and I get to choose the sentence structure and the words and how the characters talk and their cadence. And
my wife actually walked in. I was doing some writing over the holiday break, and she was like, "Where are you at now with this?" She likes to ask me questions.
That's cute.
Take an interest in what I do in my spare time, and I was like, "Well, I'm still outlining, but this is like the third outline, and I really think I have a good flow for the first the first act and deep into the second act." She's like, "Do you think it would help you if you just started writing it?"
It does sometimes.
And I'm like, maybe, yeah. But also I'll jump in and write scenes every once in a while.
Eventually you do have to just say, okay, I've got it. And it's time to start writing. And you will discover things when you write that will change the outline. So it's inevitable that the outline isn't going to be verbatim to what the script is. So, but just get to a point where you're comfortable and you have options, right? Here we have a montage.
It's a good montage. I love this song.
The song is so fantastic, yeah.
I see Kevin putting on headphones while I do this.
I'm lucky I found it.
Was it just free reign or free?
Yeah, there's a few websites where you can just scroll around. I'm like, I'm never gonna find something I like, and then I did, and honestly, I wouldn't have gone with it if I didn't think it was perfect. So
that's an awesome move.
Monkey flip, yeah. God, look at the definition on him.
He's so jacked.
What a man should look like.
That spear looked like it hurt.
It sucked.
This is the problem with doing these movie commentaries. You just fall right into watching the movie because it's like, oh man, this is so good.
Well, this is the fun part of the movie too, right? This is when he's like, he's getting it, he's trying, and he's maybe gonna succeed.
How long is the shoot?
We shot for 3 weeks.
Okay. Wow, really? That's it?
Yeah. I think we had 15 days of production, and we broke for 3 months, as you'll see later.
Yeah.
And then we came back for one more day's shooting, and then a year later we did pickups, including you and Chelsea and Ron.
Wow, that's crazy. Did you guys just take weeks off work then to make sure you're like there full time?
Yeah, I had to pay everyone who had a regular job so that they could, commit to the film. That's something I learned from doing my first movie. If you can't pay people, you can't demand their time. So I had to pay people just enough to say, listen, just I'm your boss for these couple hours.
Don't give Cool Greg
There's
ideas,
nothing
all right?
else.
No, if we don't pay you, you still have to come in.
Just me one thing right now. Cool Greg will get his.
Cool Greg, I have a lawyer who would love to hear about your situation.
It's Canadian, they can't help you.
It doesn't count. Doesn't count.
This was an interesting turn for the character of Mona.
I thought so as well, yeah.
Just a boozy bad decision was the idea?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with... Reggie should clearly understand what their relationship is by this point, which is nothing more than like they're friends and hey, I thought she was nice to hook up with him.
Still fucking thing in his mouth, not even holding the camera.
Always. That's Mackenzie Warner. He's so great. I gotta get him back if we do a sequel. But yeah, I just wanted...
Do you think about it? Do you think about doing a sequel? Heel Kick 2?
The movie would have to do pretty good for me to do a sequel.
iTunes now, people.
If the movie cracks the top 10 on iTunes for a couple days,
Yeah.
I will do a sequel.
Wow,
I
okay.
promise.
Damn.
Yeah.
Bold.
But
Bold. Announced
Starring
here.
Nick and Greg.
yeah, I'll put you guys.
Two
in it.
new idiots think
I
they
want
can
it,
do
yeah,
it,
I'm
and they need
down.
to be mentored by Reggie, current WWE World Championship.
This is one of the other owners of ECCW, The Natural.
I met him. He came to
He's great.
Edmonton, right?
This is a lot of people's one of their favorite scenes as well.
Dude.
This was so fun to write.
The
this scene.
end of this scene, like
The
as
end
a
of the scene.
wrestling fan.
What would Reggie and Maurice think was a smart character-based wrestling match?
Yeah. No, you guys fucking knocked this out of the park. And so that's so for your clipboard instructors back there, did they know like how much do they know about the movie?
They knew not. Scotty knew a decent amount.
Did they know you're gonna throw granola bars
No,
at? Look at them
they
smile,
didn't know
but
anything.
try not to smile.
We just told them where to stand and that we're going to do a match, and we told them to legitimately judge it. So
Okay.
when you see their critique of our match afterwards, that's their honest to God critique of our midterm match.
Is this you guys going full bore as good as you can go in terms of wrestling?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The psychology of the match, maybe not.
Okay. Yeah. Earthfire.
There's another. Let me tell you something, brother.
But I love how they like call it out of like you are brothers, so it makes sense
Yeah.
here.
But it doesn't because they've got different. I forget what the joke is.
Different
but
last
yeah.
names, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, not brothers.
Now, how much of this did you guys choreograph ahead of time?
The entire thing.
Okay.
Which professional wrestlers don't normally do. I think there's WrestleMania 2 or 3 or something. Macho Man Randy Savage faced someone else, and they had move for move planned out the night before at one of their homes. That's rare. That's what we did here, and it's just because we simply didn't have the confidence to have a psychology-based match that made sense. So Chris and I went on the phone. We literally called each other based on our 3 or 4 months of training at this point, and we decided move for move what the match should be, and we hoped it would entertain the judges. So this is essentially a documentary.
At any point, do you guys fuck it up? Like forget something?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we did it pretty good. We did it twice for them, and they had to redo their reactions the second time.
Okay.
Because we were like, that was really natural. Good job. But we didn't use any footage from the second take.
Oh,
I'm
wow,
pretty
okay.
sure this is all the first take.
Well, that's not easy.
No. Chris is a big boy.
He's a big boy.
He's trying to squash you, you know what I mean? He's not trying to give you anything. Now, would you have gone top rope there if your head wouldn't have gone through the ceiling?
As you'll see later, I think you believe that I would commit to it. That's called the frog bow. It's a D'Lo Brown style frog splash into an elbow drop. The frog bow, everyone. Trademark.
D'Lo Brown was a big deal back in the day.
I-
You're looking at the real deal now. Woo! That was his, that
Gonna
was his
kick
song.
your sorry ass out on the street. Is that all you got?
You used to think you own the streets. God, fucking wrestling was great.
Here's
Here
a
we
good.
go. I love when they cut back to when he's laughing at it. It's so fucking good.
You want me to kill myself, Daddy?
No, Daddy, no.
Daddy, no. It's so good.
And then we talk about this line that nobody could understand for the longest time.
Yeah.
Coming
Oh
up.
man, it's
Of
so
the natural,
garbled.
The natural does something. It says some stuff, and you're like,
Should turn it up a little. It's truly
do you know-
twisted.
No.
A shine. These are all wrestling terms.
But listen to the natural here in a second. Here it is.
It's the next cut.
Okay.
It's okay, thanks for playing brothers. It's like, let me tell you something, brother, like real brother. We use two different last names. Two different last names, it doesn't work. Cavish on there. How did they end up getting all this storyline anyways? I just wanted to see a match. You be a face. I think all the storyline. I don't know. You know what? I think they were more granola bars. They didn't want to do the proper headlock takeover.
What did he say?
You know what? I think they worried more about their granola bars than getting a proper
Headlock takeover.
headlock takeover.
Scenes like that are tough because that's a real conversation
That's
between them,
great.
and we have to make me and Chris and Cooper look like we're having a real conversation. So that's when you have to like dumb down your acting, so you sound like you're having a normal conversation. So they match cut with each other.
So good, dude. So ECCW.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of? They're
based in the
touring?
Pacific Northwest,
Okay.
mainly in Vancouver, and they do tour sometimes. And man, they're so fucking good, and the talent that comes through there is just insane as well. So, like the Singh brothers, who you see in the WWE now, who are under Jinder Mahal, like those dudes they were almost in the movie. Those are ECCW trainees, and Daniel Bryan came through there, and obviously Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness from Impact Wrestling.
You guys really chugging beers here, by the way?
Yeah, those are real shotgunning beers. Yeah.
Thanks, Coors Banquet.
Thank you, Coors Banquet.
Was this planned? Was this scripted?
I can't remember.
Because I love this. Is your real sound guy just shotgunning a beer?
That's our actual, like he's drinking on the
Alex
job.
Alex has to be your sound guy forever now because you put him through this shit.
He's so down.
He did a good job too, by the way.
He did. You can hear everything perfectly.
I will say that though, because a lot of indie films like sound, they don't pay enough attention
Sound is the
to it,
most
and
important
sound's
part.
the most fucking important thing.
Your picture could be fucking broken, black and white. Your sound has to be good, especially in a comedy.
Go look at Clerks. It's a fucking wide shot the entire
Now, I
time.
thought this was an interesting decision character-wise. Mona showing up to the barbecue. What was her motivation in your mind?
I think it was she just slept with him. So she feels guilty, especially when he calls and he's like, hey, we're having a little celebration because we passed our midterm. She was like, she would pretty much have to go. She's not a bad person.
Sure.
So she's going to want to show up at least for a few minutes. But then she's like, oh, fuck. This is
like
a big family deal.
Yeah. And
My
then
mom
clearly
just-
her mom's a racist. That's what I read. That's what I read. It's just family.
So my mom is like a little overprotective, so she does not like the idea that her son is in love with someone
Gotcha.
who already has a child with somebody else,
Right,
and it's
right.
like, why don't you focus on, I don't know, like she can just tell that Mona isn't really into Reggie,
Gotcha.
and it bothers her.
Right.
And she's a racist.
The racist part doesn't help.
Now, I have to ask you this. Feel free to not answer the question. But you look like you really know what you're doing with those cigarettes. Did you smoke for a long time?
I smoked casually in like high school, and then for a few years after
Okay.
that. So yeah,
Because I will.
these
say,
aren't real cigarettes in the movie.
No, but when you.
Yeah.
When you, the way you hold the cigarette, the way you flick the cigarette, you've smoked before.
Like this.
Yeah, this ashing
It's
of the
with the
e-cigarette.
Yeah.
It bothers me to no end.
Yeah,
when
no,
a character is supposed to be a smoker, and it's so fucking clear that.
So did
actor
Reggie
has
look like a
never-
smoker to you?
Reggie did, yeah.
Okay,
at some
good.
point. It's the laissez-faire. It takes a little while to get the muscle memory of just letting it sit there and just being comfortable with it there. I think all too often actors like that you can tell they're mentally focused on
Don't
not
drop
dropping
the
cigarette. Don't
cigarette.
drop the cigarette. And so it ends up being like really stiff.
That was a big thing for us. We wanted smoking to look real. We wanted doing drugs to look real, smoking weed especially, and we wanted drinking to look real. So
You nailed
we
it.
really focused.
Whose
on it.
house is this?
This is one of our associate producers' houses. It's pretty nice.
Damn.
Yeah,
All
just
our
a bit,
bills,
right? That
y'all.
fucking.
Next time you come to Vancouver, we'll go there.
Okay, cool. Will it be like this?
Yeah, essentially.
Roy Toit.
I like it because it's like, what a dumb thing to do, and you're like, but I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had that house party.
Yeah.
Where you go to somebody's house and you drink too much, and you're like, let's do something totally stupid. Like play Mario Kart and scream at Alexa all night long to play music.
I love it.
This always gets a huge laugh. Big surprise, but
Your robot singer. Was that planned?
yeah, it's
Okay.
planned, yeah.
Because again, everything looks so natural.
Yeah.
Where you'd be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go do this, fuck me up or whatever. Because you're directing as well, right? You're co-directing. Mm-hmm. So like, is that impossible? I don't
No.
understand. Do you film a scene and then immediately go back and watch it all? And you're like,
I
no,
didn't.
we
That's
fucked
the
that
thing.
up.
I did no playback, which was
Really?
it hurt me a little bit in editing when I realized a few scenes weren't
Weren't
like
what
the
you
way.
wanted?
Yeah, I'm like perhaps I didn't describe them properly. I wore a lot of hats, and this is my directorial debut as well. But having Ian as a co-director was just quintessential to the movie, having a certain flow, and also he had a different energy for the characters of what he wanted to see come out, but he really understood them, so it worked very well.
That's always the thing when people direct movies that they're in. I'm like, how the fuck do you do? You have to really have people around you trust.
I host podcasts, and I'm like, well, I'm a terrible participant in this podcast, but I'll get you where you need to be.
Right. Like, I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but Ben Affleck was supposed to direct the Batman movie, and one of the first things he said was, he was like, it's really hard to be in the cape and cowl for predominantly all the movie, and then have to step away from that for a second and direct.
To me, it's like after you do all the
fucking pain in the ass,
the background work and the writing, and you've done the character development, I was like, well, why would I have someone else direct the movie at this point when I've done so much? It would almost make, I would hate to hire a director and then be like, actually, that's not how the scene is supposed to go, and then I don't want to be that guy who's trying to supersede a director's vision. So
were you more excited about being the character or more excited about just making the film?
The character.
Let me back up. I was gonna say, if you had to, if someone came to you, gun to your head, said you can only do one of these, direct this movie or be in the movie, which one would you do?
Be in the movie, I think. Yeah. We wouldn't have even been able to find someone to be Reggie or Maurice. Like, no one would train for 6 months as a pro wrestler for free, and then be like, oh, by the way, someone's got to get their head shaved, hit with the chair, jump off a ladder, get a needle in their ass. It's like, let's divide them up and pick who gets the nightmare scenarios, right? So, not that like no one would have done it, but no one is really getting paid, right? So for free in that
well, that's why this works, right? Like, I think the reason you're able to make this movie is the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just based on knowing you and knowing these guys now, is the fact that you're a bunch of actors, a bunch of creative types up there who want to make a movie. And so it is like, yep, cool. None of us are going to make shit on this movie. Hopefully you break even. iTunes, like I said.
That'd be cool.
But it's like you're going out there and doing it. Everybody wants it for exposure and credit and the experience, right? And so it is like, yeah, we'll train, we'll do this. I'll shave my head and look like a weirdo with these giant mutton chops.
Those look awesome, by the way. I love it. It's like mid-90s.
Maybe I'll do that when I'm done here.
No, don't do that. That's the thing, is I've done a lot of projects and I've asked for a lot of free work. And there's a difference between asking for an actor or someone that's going to be in your gig for a day versus I need you for half a year.
Yeah.
And you just know that ultimately that's going to be a problem, because at some point that person's going to get a paid gig and they're not.
Here we go.
They're not going to not take that gig.
One of the best scenes. This scene then followed up with a confessional, like, yeah, maybe I should have said that. It's so much. God damn it. So good. So good. It's one of those in the moment you're like, oh, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, you did it. What an idiot. Blah, blah, blah.
I love that scene because you can tell it's going to happen 10 seconds before it happens.
But then it's when this happens, and then when he has the conversation, right, of just no one's ever said something that nice to me, you're like, fuck, I'm an asshole for laughing at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, wow, like that's fucked up, and I never thought about that.
I'm glad this scene resonated with people and this whole moment, because I wasn't too sure. I thought seems like something for the characters, but I don't know if this is necessarily like a movie, like where a movie would go. So when people thought it, it felt honest. It just felt honest. So
dude, that's the biggest compliment I can give the movie, is the whole movie feels honest. And like where I'm talking about, being hidden also, and I'm, throwing out how bad Cooper is, just putting it out there, just divorcing myself of that. I love you, Cooper. I'm kidding, but like, no, the movie's so good, and the fact that like I've seen it. What? Jesus Christ. This is my 5th or 6th time going through it, and I love it still, and I'm still having fun talking over it, because I really do. I wouldn't promote, talk about, bring you on for shows that I didn't believe in. And like, this is something like, I believe in this movie.
And
like,
I knew that too. We're not just friends and you'll do anything for me. I knew when I sent you a screener, I was like, well, I hope he likes it, because that'll be a great opportunity if he can come on board as a producer. But,
No, like the movie's great, and that's why I promote it, because you're a great person and a great dude. And just like every other best friend who comes on and does anything with us, like... This fucking scene. The fucking half fucking done ramen, but the Molson right around him too. Surprised Coors. Oh, it's Coors. Or Molson.
We're okay. Yeah, we got permission.
Okay.
Yeah. Good scene by Matt Graham here.
Love that Matt Graham kid. He's going places. You know what I mean? And it's terrifying too. Of like, you think about how much his mom's gone through, and like, oh fuck, what did he do? And you go inside, and she won't even like talk to him. It's ugh.
Yeah.
Now, did you put the tattoos on every day, or were they like
they
semi-permanent?
They were semi.
Because that was like reddish.
but they
like,
had to be redone every day. That's a real sunburn.
Oh, okay.
I just happened to also be laying in the sun, so it played for the scene. But I actually was just sunburned. See how the grass is sticking to my tattoos?
Yeah.
That's because the tattoos are sticky.
Ah.
Science, ladies and gentlemen.
It just looks good. You know what I mean? It looks real. You guys are getting real.
I'm glad.
This part where he can't even open his eyes.
Just a
Again, it's
painful-
like this whole thing is like, oh, what a fall from grace.
I know. People were like, I didn't expect there to be moments where it was like
Yep.
painful to watch and it was sad.
Especially
like it,
starting from a
right?
character that I don't like.
Right, but that's the thing is I mean, and this is where you nail the structure of this, where, you know, you have this amazing fall from grace moment where, you know, in on the surface it's because he's just a fuck up, but in reality it's because he knows that he's starting to do something right, and it's scary, and he was going to self-destruct, like he's going to sabotage himself. From
So
that,
true, yeah.
Which is what we all absolutely do when we, you know, you may not think you do it, but there's always that moment where you're like, should I go to the gym, or oh, you know, I don't know, I had too much coffee today, so
Yeah.
maybe I should just go home instead. And it's like
Life
that
is just
bullshit
changing
thing
too
where,
rapidly, yeah.
where you're just you're scared to get out there and do the thing, and I love that.
This is a good scene with Pam.
This is a great scene. And like, I found it interesting. You were talking about it in Q&As with me. Pam isn't one of your friends. So many of these people are friends you met.
That's right. A lot of these actors are like close actor friends of mine, but Pam I never met until we auditioned her. And yeah, fuck,
She's
she can
great,
just
right?
break your heart. She's so good.
Yeah. How many people did you see for that role?
Probably auditioned, I don't know, close to 10 people for that role. And we had someone else who I thought really was it. And then
Pam Grier.
Ian said, no, we
Odd
should see
choice for his
Pam
mom.
Kearns again for the callback. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then Pam just nailed it. We did so much improvisation for the callbacks and the auditions because we knew that's what the vibe would be like. So,
Yeah.
and she just crushed it.
How does that work?
She was also cool with me almost punching her in the face.
Another
love
great
that.
scene where I was like, man, I've done that with my mom.
Yeah.
I did that with my mom in the
did it
kitchen
with
talking
my
about
mom
wrestling.
too, yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah, your
course.
mom hated it, I guarantee it.
You know what? Big old Jimmy Kennedy loved it. You bite your fucking tongue. You don't know her, all right? Cool Greg's nodding. He knows you don't know her.
Cool, Greg, what's going on with those Triscuits? Can Uncle Nick get one?
What's going on?
I'm so hungry right now.
Go get some food. Why didn't you have? You had lunch, didn't you? Oh, you just had
Come
2
with these
pieces of
carbs.
meatloaf,
I
though.
did. It was a dumb shit thing to do. I should have got more.
You made a great salad for me, and I love you and appreciate it.
It was a nice salad. It was a nice salad.
Yeah. So my question then, again, being an idiot who doesn't know how to make a movie, how do you put out a call for your mother for this movie? Are you in the trades?
There's
the variety?
casting. Yeah, there's a ton of websites that
Okay.
send out the word that local productions are looking for
Okay.
something or whatever. So yeah,
Did you do all the
it's
casting
not as
yourself,
tough
or
as
did you
you
use an
think.
agent?
I used some casting directors to help us, and then I was in the room for all of them, working with all the actors. So
Big fan of this scene too because it doesn't go well.
yeah,
I thought, like, you know, calling the wrestling guy and be like, hey, they fucked up, it's my fault, but I'll film everything. I'm like, sure, I can see it. It's believable, but it's
Yeah.
an easy out. And
Easy
then
fix,
where this one is like, no, fuck you. Like, this is over. Like, he needs to go off. Did you know Mona? Or no?
no, I didn't know her. I did not know her.
Another
Yeah.
audition?
Another
Nice.
audition.
Nice.
Yeah. Naya
Did she
Cummins.
bring her own
She's
baby?
also super awesome. No, the baby is someone else's baby.
Did you audition
she was
babies?
also like me. Like we both didn't know how to hold a baby at the time, and I'm like, okay, you have to look like the baby's mom, so at least I can look like a fuck up. And she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To be fair, that kid was almost not a baby, so it's very confusing as to how to hold the kid because it's almost a small
Yeah,
adult. thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good 2-3 years old.
No.
Was walking.
No. 3 or 4,
No,
Kevin
the
said?
kid's like 1.5.
Okay, thank you.
Was getting
Kid's
up to
under
2.
2 years old.
That kid would borrow your car in a heartbeat. Take it to the store, take it to the local AMPM.
And come home late.
Yeah.
Another great scene right here.
This is
This is-
unscripted, so
No shit,
the original
really?
scene was me coming back and me saying, I have something to say to you, and Maurice goes, what? And I go, I'm sorry. And he goes, all right, it's okay. But then we're like, that's too easy. So I wrote this poem in character in the makeup chair,
Dude.
and neither of them knew that this was going to happen. So I have Cooper reading this to Maurice for the first time. We couldn't get through it for about 5 takes because it's so stupid, but then we eventually did, and that's
Dude,
the
it's
scene in the
so
movie.
good. It is so good. And I love it. Like, it's such an unspoken stupid bullshit macho bro whatever moment you want to say of where he's like, and he takes it and puts it over there of like, this
So
means
sweet.
something.
And that was
to me.
also completely improvised as well, because none of this was planned. I wrote this thing 10 minutes before we shot this scene.
Dude, telling fiction like this.
So it's
as
just
somebody who's
you can
stupid
do
who just consumed
improv
it-
when you're so in character.
Yeah.
As long as you're, and then he saves it there, and then it's
and then like that. That's
super
awesome.
touching.
That's awesome. You guys fucking killed it. This movie's so good. Now, how do they feel about the Stella bottles backwards? Do they just not care? Or it's not. Am I
Who
getting
knows
too,
if they're Stella bottles, Greg?
I mean, pretty clearly they're Stella.
Who
Like,
knows if they're Stella bottles?
I'm just saying,
No,
Coors
it's fine.
Banquet. If you're watching, cease and desist this movie as soon as possible.
Coors Banquet.
Greg, you're a producer of the movie.
They want to hit.
Fuck!
He's agreed to take you guys back under the condition that you guys don't miss any more classes. Yeah, serious? And you guys give up smoking.
There's like a thought process on that one. Yeah.
Cooper has this great understated delivery just naturally in a lot of his performances, and it's so good for like someone who plays a director.
Yeah.
Who it's like he obviously has to get the lines and emote across, but he can very easily look like he was just a guy off the street shooting us as well.
He also looks evil. If we can say that about Cooper,
Especially with the eyes and
yeah,
the
no, he
bloody
scares
nose.
me.
Yeah.
Scares me.
He's got the evil guy haircut.
He's got the evil guy haircut.
So this scene,
Tell him
how
about
did
it.
you feel when you watched this scene for the first time?
I thought it was like as a non-movie person,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I thought was interesting that you like jog off, and then it's like a different cut that you're there. And I was like, that's weird. Like what happened
really?
there? Yeah. Like I was, that's an interesting
That I
thing.
jog up and then all of a sudden
You
I'm-
jog like oh there she is, and like we don't get an
We love the
establishing
jump
shot,
cuts.
and then it's just you jog over. Was she really there on this day of shooting?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
She's there. Yeah. It was
Well,
just jump cuts. Yeah.
You've told me like again I've toured with this movie with you, right? Like I'll be back. I'm like, where the fuck are you running to? Oh, okay. Well, there we are. I didn't understand where you're going.
He
Oh,
gives her
fair
a wave.
enough.
That worked.
I'm just
Weirdo.
telling you.
Never thought of it that
dude,
way.
as somebody who saw the movie 4 fucking times or whatever in theater, all right, I've had time to think about it.
You have. You're overanalyzing it.
The interesting part, I think, in terms of like a pop-up trivia like we're doing, is the fact that you told me in the next scene, this is the only ADR in the movie, right?
Well, okay. So this scene is actually we did have dialogue for it. We recorded it. So that whole breakup thing where she says, "I don't want to," whatever,
Just leave me alone.
is it's recorded, but we never used it, and we just wanted to show it just with you
works
you
better.
should be
This
able to
works
get,
way better, yeah.
I think so too.
Because we've already had the scene prior to it.
But you're
with
talking
this
about it here,
resolution.
right? That like this is the only thing you had at ADR?
Correct. And It's
Okay.
coming up right here.
ADR means what?
Additional
Automated.
dialogue recording.
Yeah.
That's not really what it stands for, but it's good enough.
I read that it stood for automated dialogue replacement.
Yeah, that's probably it.
He's made 2 movies, you've made none,
Yeah, I'm a
right?
fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, I'll leave my phone.
You want me to rub the feet?
No, I'm good. Wait, which part of this was ADR?
It's just like 2 words.
I think
at
it's
the
right
beginning
here,
of the
right?
sentence. No, it's already
Oh,
over.
okay, yeah.
It's a good job.
From what I understand,
Thank you, Oscar Vargas, for doing that. Yeah.
you told me right. You mentioned her ex-boyfriend by name, right? And since
That's the issue. So we had another character in the movie named Wade, who is the father of her son, who is gay,
okay,
and he needed to go like just figure his life out.
Okay.
But he's like, you know what? If you guys want to come move with me across the country, let's do that and try to make it work. And so that's what she's saying. Like, look, I've been screwing around with you for too long, and I need to go focus on my family.
okay.
So that was the original thing. So I said his name. I'm like, Wade wants to have him go move in with her. But then since we never introduced the Wade character, I had to just say her ex. So if you look really closely, that's the 80-yard part.
That's awesome.
It's really quick, yeah. It's great Cooper scene here.
but he looks so evil, and he scares me.
He doesn't. He's beautiful.
He's gonna get us one day, Nick. This is the guy. This is the guy who gets us.
Bro, no one's gonna go out of their way
I feel
to
like
get
the
us.
Victor Lucas beef is like your second Canadian beef after you and Cooper.
They're a team. They're a team now. Victor Lucas.
They
and
did
Cooper.
work together.
I
gonna
know.
tell you-
They're
I'm
both Electric
aware.
Playground alumni.
They remind me about it all the time.
I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. If you've got a problem with Victor Lucas, you're the bad guy in that situation. I just want you to know
You
that.
got a problem with Canada.
Here's what I'll say: Victor Lucas hasn't aged a day in 30 years.
He's like John Wick. He's like what's it, Keanu Reeves.
such a real conversation
I know.
everyone has, or not maybe about a dating
And
site,
I was
but like
always
trying to explain
disappointed it didn't
technology.
get a bigger laugh, but I'm like, doesn't anyone have to show their mom how to do some fucking internet shit? And it's
Yeah.
awful. Here's the scene. Moving out.
This is another great scene, totally underplayed. Bros for life. So now we jump ahead. So this is
Yeah, this
wrap
is
on
4
principal
months
photography.
later.
Oh,
Yeah,
we jump
that's
over here.
right.
Yeah, okay.
So tonight, this scene right here is starting now. This is several months later after we stopped shooting. So it was kind of interesting when I sent out the call to the crew and the cast. I'm like, everyone has to be available for 3 weeks in the summer, and then for a day in October.
And they're like, all right.
Now, was that crowd that you walked by, was that a real crowd for the
Yeah.
event? Yeah.
Yeah, do
So
they
the
know you're
thing
filming a
is-
movie?
Sort of. So the thing is, we knew that ECCW, this is an actual ECCW show that they're doing, right? So we just inserted ourselves and put our match in this actual live show that they normally do. So that's why we knew we had to be good enough to, because they would just boo us if we weren't good, because
Sure.
they paid to see a wrestling show. They're not trying to be extras in a movie, and none of them are extras.
I love this. You're Reggie's father, right, on the shirt, along with Go Reggie Go. Is that what's happening?
I wasn't sure if I saw that.
Whatever is on your mom's or Reggie's mom's
right,
shirt,
yeah.
that old timey photo of somebody who looks like he's lined up. I
I
assume
think it was just Reggie. And
it's
just
such an
time.
old. It's such
Sure,
an
it's
old.
his dad. It's a sweet moment.
It looks so old. I'm like, I don't understand. But it is also totally a mom shirt.
Both names.
Where I can't understand
spelled
what the fuck's
incorrectly.
Yeah, that was awesome. Sorry, I cut off.
Oh no, that's quite.
No, it's fine. You know what? We should just watch the movie. We shouldn't have complicated.
Don't be Kevin. Don't be a Kevin.
Kevin was right, guys. So now you talk about the fact that, you took these months off and you came back, you needed a great match. During the downtime, did you guys keep practicing and keep wrestling and keep...
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
I went full time with training
Oh,
after we
Jesus.
quit breaking, or after we quit shooting, pardon me. So this is it's like the midterm match that you saw versus this. It's like real time. Like that's
Oh, wow.
actually
Wow,
4
wow,
months
wow.
difference of training.
How nervous are you?
Noticeably look bigger in this.
That's what people said as
Yeah,
well.
they're
Yeah,
better.
that
You
you
got
look like
fucking
you're in
jacked
better
up.
shape after
How
this.
nervous are you coming out to do
I'm
this shit?
so crazy, pass out, vomit, fucking nervous at this point. I am really, really nervous. Because the crowd will just say, you fucked up,
yeah.
you fucked up, or this is boring, or what. They don't give a shit. So you have to be good enough to have a good match. So yeah, that's why we train so hard. And
Love that shit.
it's a mean line.
Here's what I'm saying, Nick.
Yeah.
We take some of the Kind of Funny money.
Yeah.
We put Cool Greg into a wrestling camp.
Oh, I love it. We
Cool
follow him.
Greg at APW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool Greg.
APW. Love those guys.
APW guys are great.
Marcus.
Yep.
I am 100% in for this. Cool, Greg, you down? All right, let's do it.
All right, done. That's
It's
it.
done.
That's a Kind of Funny documentary.
How much does wrestling camp cost?
I don't know.
If it's
If you tell
more-
people you're making a movie and you can tie them into it, it's
Zero.
not
Nothing.
that much. Sorry, Scotty. Yeah, I was super nervous, dude.
How long
whole
is this
time.
match in real time?
The match in real time is like close to 10 minutes, so it's
Wow.
actually quite long.
And then
Yeah.
you filmed this all in one go. How many cameras did you have there?
We had
for this?
4 cameras going at the same time, so we didn't miss any action. We had 2 reds and 2 black magics.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Oh, and the ref is down.
Yeah, your fucking shoulders are huge in this.
Yeah, it was fun to be strong for a while.
Did you ever look at this
Just
and go,
going
"Man, I
around
really wanna do
lifting people.
Yeah, I mean, you put a lot of muscle on for this.
It felt good. Poor Chris.
He took it like a champ, though.
He really
That's a great
did
chair
take it
shot.
like
He
a
took
champ.
a great chair shot there.
So that's like one of the things I'm like, if we ever did another one, I'm like, how would I have taught myself? And you know, I'm not like it's not like I turned into goddamn Chris Hemsworth or something, but still, it's a lot of work by yourself, and you don't have like a dietitian or whatever.
And even though there's all these shots, this is one take, right?
Yeah, this is one single. Talk about live theater. This is just one thing.
That looks painful. Every time you fall back that way, it looks painful.
That's how Shawn Michaels celebrated when he won the WWF championship.
But you are not in Shawn Michaels shape. You know what I mean? Like you're not nearly as limber as Shawn Michaels.
No, I'm certainly
Just
not.
letting you know there. Another question I have for you: who's the girl next to Matt? Because they feel like they have a relationship there. I was like, is that the invisible girlfriend?
We can imply that that's his girlfriend,
Okay, just
but
making sure.
it's actually our hair and makeup
Oh, nice.
person.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're a nice couple. They should, that should be a real thing.
maybe I'll tie it in
Just letting you know.
to the sequel that I'll never make.
Unless this gets to the top 10s of iTunes.
Top 10 for a week. Sure, I'll do it.
Nice.
And then we had some after credits stuff that we wanted to do that was like bloopers, but we didn't want to break everyone's suspension of disbelief. We thought we worked so hard to make it feel like a
Sure,
documentary.
sure.
So we
Even
we
this
didn't
is
do
still
bloopers,
great. Yeah. When you say the hey thing, I'm like, oh yeah, they're Canadian.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
And it's like that super rare thing though, where you hide it so well.
Well, we tried not to hide the Canadianness. Hey, there's Greg Miller.
That's my name and co-producer,
right
everybody.
there. Because like ECCW, their thing is a Canadian flag,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
some of our favorite mockumentaries of all time are Canadian.
Sure.
And so we, all the Christopher Guest actors like Catherine O'Hara and
Yeah.
Eugene Levy, and then of course
Look,
the
we
Trailer Park
understand.
Boys and whatever.
All of the talented people come from Canada and UK. We get that. We fucking get it. Okay?
We just,
I imported my
every
wife from
Canadian
Canada.
actor hides their Canadianness, but we were able to actually say like we can let this be Canadian. It'll probably be the only time that we can. So we tried to embrace it.
It's fair. It's fair.
It's not fair, says Kevin off camera.
You'll see a huge list of names coming up in the credits, and those are all the people that donated money to the GoFundMe campaign. So at one point we were just financially fucked, and we needed 10 grand like turbo quickly.
Yeah.
And in 3 weeks we raised like 12 grand
Wow.
or something,
Wow.
and it was a really successful campaign. So thank the Lord to all you people for.
I would
coming
imagine
through.
a lot of Kind of Funny best friends are in there.
There's some really This is There's Nick Scarpino's name and Kind of Funny.
Woo!
See that?
It's you, Nick. You did that for us.
Good Gucci.
And the world champions is everyone who tossed a couple bucks.
Very nice. Very nice. Looking through. Right on your nuts. Megan Sullivan, IGN Zone.
Yeah, Megan Sullivan's awesome. Hey, Megan. She's a great supporter.
Yeah.
From the jump. Yeah. Harley Squirrel Nuts.
Great name.
A lot of friends. Chum Guzzler, you see in there
Yeah,
as
there it
well.
is.
Pancake Eric.
So do you love it? Do you love the movie?
I do love the movie. I do love it. Is that okay to say? That
Yeah,
I
we love the
horror
movie. Totally.
I love it, man.
What is Rebel Arcade, by the way, too?
Rebel
Where'd you
Arcade
come
is
with that
my
name?
production company. I came up with it because, I don't know, it just feels...
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. That's pretty
Rebel
much it.
sounds like you don't fucking play by anyone's rules, but
I do
arcade means
things
you
my
still
own
play.
way.
You still
That's
play.
That's how it is.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Any closing questions about the film that we didn't get around to?
What do you got?
I'm good. I mean, I always want to ask a bunch of financial questions, but I don't know if we want to broach that.
Oh, that's fine.
Do you know, like, what do you have a total budget? Like, what was your total budget on this?
Well, we were able to shoot the movie for 40,000 Canadian, which
Okay.
comes out to about 32,000 US dollars at the
How
time.
far
So
past what your original budget was that?
we're like double that at least right now. So we're close to it'll end up being an $80,000 to $90,000 Canadian dollars
Once
budget
you factor in
film.
all the marketing, promotion, all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, the costs just keep climbing. So I mean, that's something to keep in mind for people once they reach post production. But yeah, we were able to shoot it for $40K.
Were you able to recoup any of those already by doing the screenings? Or
The screenings
just
helped a
break
lot,
even?
but like I was telling Greg earlier, we had to pump that money right back into stuff like paying distributor to get the film placed on iTunes and paying someone to do a poster. And, you know.
He didn't just mess up his word, by the way. The company's name is Distributor.
Yeah, that's right. It's
That's
called
the
Drunk
distributor's
fuck.
name, everybody.
Cut him off.
Yes, and
It's
everyone,
called
but-
a stripper. And no, just little costs add up, like E&O insurance, which is errors and omissions, which means whenever you have a pack of Wrigley's gum in the background of your film, but it's not really being presented in a negative or positive light, it's just there, it means Wrigley's can't come in and just sue the pants off you, not like they
Well, it
would
means
anyway.
they can, but you're covered for that, right?
Exactly.
That's an insurance policy for
So
if you,
bring it on,
if you
Wrigley's.
fuck up something unbeknownst, like not because it's your fault.
Exactly.
If you put like a shot of Charlie Sheen in your movie, he doesn't know it. That's not going to cover you for
Sure. Yeah. Or if someone pulled up in a car and then the car broke down and we showed the brand and the make and the model of the car and we said,
piece of
man,
shit
this
Ford."
fucking car is the reason we didn't make it to wrestling practice on time.
Right.
Like,
What big, huge thing.
you're going to
part of
have
the
a
movie.
bad time if
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah.
So, no, and little costs like that, they just add up over time. So, yeah, they really explode in post-production, but we were able to take care of them. That
And you
was,
made it work.
Yeah, we made it work.
Closing thoughts, though. What was the hardest part of filming this movie, and then what was the best part of filming this movie?
The best part of filming this movie, for some reason, were the 3 Fridays where we wrapped. The first Friday was, I don't know, some scene we liked. But the second Friday was the steroids scene. And that was just one of those days where, like I said, we did it all in one take as many times as we could. And the crew had so much fun. And that was like the note that we got to end the weekend on. And not only were we having fun, but the crew was having fun. And we thought, hey, worst case scenario, like everyone's having a good time making this movie. And we were happy with that scene. The most difficult thing to shoot was the final scene that you saw, the wrestling match at the end, because we didn't have a chance to cut. We wouldn't have a chance to really edit it beyond what it was. It had to be a good match at a live show, and it had to entertain the crowd so much that we couldn't. Like, we wouldn't have been able to fix it in post audio.
Right.
Like, if they started booing,
It's nerve-wracking.
like, how are you gonna fucking edit out people just being like, you know, like saying they don't like it, basically. So
crazy.
that was the most nerve-wracking, but we were able to pull it off, thank God, because the ECCW guys did a good job training us, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
I was good at one point.
It was
Or
it,
acceptable.
It looked very convincing. I'll put it that
Acceptable.
way.
Go right back into it any time. Don't worry about it.
Well, top 10 on iTunes.
There you
and
go.
I'll do
Heel
it.
Kick 2, make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, remember Heel Kick available right now on iTunes and a bunch of other services. But like if you get it to trend on iTunes, we get Heel Kick 2. And Nick Scarpino will be there and he will blade for it.
But also Amazon, he will blade.
Do you know what blading is?
No, it sounds
Nick will
terrifying.
blade for it.
It's when you
If
get
you don't know what that is,
slices
if you
and
don't
the
know what
blood.
that is, you look it up and
That'll
figure out
happen
how to
no matter
blade.
what for me.
It's also on Amazon, Google Play, if you absolutely don't use iTunes, and it should be on the Xbox and PlayStation Store and
That's
Vudu on January 19th as well. And then if it does really well, perhaps to a streaming service. And if it does really, really well, I don't know. We'll just have to go from there.
All right. Well, Danny, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
If for some reason you ran into this episode and didn't see Danny on the Game Over Greggy show, go watch that. It's also up on youtube.com/kindafunny. Danny talking to us about the process of writing as Nick and I talk about movies, things we want to do, creative processes as Tim just guzzles LaCroix and just doesn't care about anything that's
it
happening.
down.
Just
Manny
fucking
LaCroix.
forgets.
The least of which is his stomach. He doesn't care about that.
He doesn't care anymore. It's disturbing. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.